All right, welcome to another episode of Out in the Hamptons. I'm your host, Michael Jefferies, and it is such an honor to have Lynn Blue from the Lynn Blue Band with us today. How are you?
I'm good. It's August, and
You made it.
I made it so far.
Lynn commuted from Montauk, folks, and you know out here what that can be like.
Took 3 days. Yeah,
She wrote a song on the way called Hampton Blues Part 2. Yeah, the traffic is maddening, but maybe we're getting there.
The traffic's maddening, but the people are beautiful, and the place is beautiful, and the music community is beautiful, and it could be a lot worse. You know, we could be in a box in some urban setting with no air conditioning and have never seen the ocean, so we're good.
No complaints from this one. I'll complain later.
Oh, I'll complain, but I shouldn't.
But it's great. It's an honor to have you here, and I'm glad you made it.
Thank you. Thank you for
and you look
asking.
beautiful, and this is a person that's full of talent. We want to get into a little bit of her story, because not only does she leads a band. You're the vocalist in a band, but you also write original music. That you produce and put it out there for the world to enjoy. But before we get into that, can we talk a little bit about your upcoming gigs?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
'Cause I see you performing. Myself alone, I've seen you in 3 different venues this summer. So, to me, it sounds like you guys have a full house all the time.
We're a busy band, which is partially because I love to play. So I ask places, can we play? Can we play? And they usually say yes, which is nice. And we have like sort of standing relationships with the Montauk and with Wolfer and with the Talk House. And this summer we added the Springs Tavern in, which was really
Springs
wonderful.
Tavern is rocking it out.
Springs Tavern is, it's in a neighborhood, so I would be remiss if I said we're rocking it out in the Springs because I don't want the neighbors to get the hairs on the back of their necks up. I just want them to sort of wander into the street and dance along with us.
Yeah.
It's a great neighborhood, as you know, you live up there, and the owners of the Spring Tavern are fantastic. Alex and Sin, if you don't know them, you should.
Oh, I'd like
Definitely.
to meet them sometime.
You could do a live thing there.
I haven't been in there in years. It used to be called, I think, Wolfie's or something way back
It
in the
was,
day.
it was. And so we got rained out. We were supposed to be part of the WLNG series, and there's been a lot of rain this summer.
Yeah.
So we got rained out, and we spoke to Bill Evans, meteorologist Bill Evans.
Yes, Bill Evans. Yes.
And he is, I think, the owner of WLNG, and he
Yes.
said, why don't we do a Tumbleweed Tuesday party? So on September 5th, which is a Tuesday, we're going to perform there in the Showmobile, not the Snowmobile, the Showmobile. My Siri wanted to turn it into a snowmobile when I was texting a friend. And that'll be really fun, full band. I think it's 6 to 8 in Marine Park. And then on September 9th, we're at Wolfer. And on September 28th, we're in the Sag Harbor Music Festival, which is a Thursday night at 6 p.m. near Sag Pizza. And all the businesses in Sag Harbor are so cool. They all support live music and sponsor different bands and let us play at their venues. It's awesome.
Are you playing in that open space?
It's like an alley.
Yeah, but it's big. It's not like a skinny alley. It's generous, I thought. I just
Like
went
me.
past it.
Not a skinny alley, no. But it's great. We've played there before. We love playing there. And they usually give us a pizza, which is awesome because they've got great pizza.
They do have good pizza.
And
Yeah.
and it's really fun. I mean, the best part is when you sing an original tune and they've heard it before, and the people who are there sing along with you. It's like
That's a good
dream.
feeling.
It's a dream come true feeling. Yeah, it is.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So, growing up, I read on your website that you started pretty early in the business. 19, I want to say, or was it before that?
When I was in college in 1902, I was in a play called Godspell. And while I was at college at Emory University, Coca-Cola decided to endow Emory University. And all of a sudden they had extra money and they said, why don't you guys take this show on the road? And we did. And it was pretty exciting. We got paid to sing and dance, but that was not rock and roll. That was musical theater,
Yeah.
which is sort of like asking the kids in Glee to suddenly take a right turn. And when I started this band, oh my gosh, the guys would start, they'd start playing some kind of big rock and roll anthem song that everybody knew except me. And I would stand there like a deer in the headlights, and they'd be like, how do you not know this song? And I was like, do you know anything from Pippin? Because I know every word to every song in Pippin.
The Wiz.
But now I've learned probably 200 or more songs.
You guys
so.
are rocking it out. Well, let's go back to your roots. Are you a Southern girl?
No, I was born in Brooklyn,
Oh,
raised in Westchester, and then I went to college in Atlanta, and then I moved back to New York City and got a job in advertising at Young and Rubicam. And it was sort of an amalgam of the business part of my personality that my parents really wanted me to cultivate, and the creative part of my personality that I couldn't completely sublimate.
when did that start rearing its head, your creative side? Were you quite
I
young?
was always a creative kid. I
Yeah.
had an easel and I painted and I made up songs all through high school, and probably before I won a poetry contest for Mother's Day. I still remember the
Aw.
even though we fight a lot,
Oh.
even though we yell a lot and we often fight, Mom, do you know what? I think you're all right. I mean, what a talent.
And she turned it into a rock song years
No.
later.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I was always a pretty creative kid, which I think was probably a little overwhelming for the people in my family, because I just was like,
Were you
you know,
the only
ready.
artist in the family, or are there other?
Funny, my brother, who I like to say is my older brother, but is my younger brother, he just recently wrote and recorded a song that he always wanted to write and record. He had the song, I think, in him, but he made it real, and it's being played around in Boston. So
Oh.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Well, let's do a
And
shout
my
out.
nephew
What's
is
his name?
Paul Blumenfeld. He's an amazing, talented
Shout out to
human.
Paul.
And
what's the
Sam
name?
Blumenfeld, my nephew, is incredibly talented. He co-wrote, directed, and produced a friend's one-woman play, and it was at the Edinburgh Festival next year, and sometime in the future you're going to have access to it, but I'm not sure how.
Awesome. Okay, so I would say that streak is in the family.
It's definitely in the
Yeah.
family. It's definitely, we're all like performing seals that want attention and applause. Yes.
Now,
Throw me a fish. No.
how does one segue from like theater to rock and roll?
Oh, wow. I moved out to the East End of Long Island probably 10 days before 9/11.
Oh,
And I was writing and recording my own music at that point. And I thought, this is awesome. I can freelance as a copywriter in New York City. And then 9/11 happened, and there was no freelance work, and I had to figure out how to pay my bills, not only here, but I still had maintained my apartment in the city.
yeah.
And that was a little bit of a shocker. And so I started an ad agency. And about 10 years, 15 years into that, I started going to see Nancy Atlas play, and I was listening to Joe D'Elia play, and Cynthia Daniels,
Oh,
who's I was writing and recording
Yeah.
Radio spots. And I do a lot of voices, and I like Marvin, why, and I, all the little
nice
stuff.
nasal
Yeah, I
sound
can
there.
do the nasal sound, and I can do a Southern accent, no problem. And y'all just, I could I did British for Minnie.
How can
And
we
so-
hear that?
Darling, why do you ask? Anyway, so Cynthia was recording us, and every now and then I had those headphones on, and I'd start singing. And Cynthia was like, you can really sing. And she invited me to be in this concert at Guildhall.
Oh, nice.
And I met Joe D'Elia. And I sang at Guildhall. I sang the song River by Joni Mitchell. And it was an amazing experience. And all these people who'd never heard me sing clapped and applauded. And like I said, performing Seal Family. Oh, give me more of that.
Yeah, good feeling.
So, make a long story longer, I started nudging Joe to let me sing. And one night, Nancy Atlas invited me up to sing. And I also had friends that needed help in the community, and I would organize benefits for them, and I would sneak myself into the lineup of like 5 different bands playing. I was like, can I sing a song with your band? Can I sing a song? So I started getting the bug, and eventually I met Randolph Hudson III and Cliff Black playing with Joe D'Elia. And I was singing backup for Joe, and they were playing bass and guitar for Joe, and they said, you should have your own band. And they put together a band for
Oh, but
me.
a nice compliment.
Oh, it was incredible, especially coming from both of them. They're incredible musicians. So they kind of gave me this band, and they were like, we can play once or twice a month. Well, once you start playing once or twice a month, if you're me, you're like, wait a minute, I want to do this all the time. This is so much fun.
Right? Yeah.
So all of a sudden they were like, okay, little bird, out of the nest you go. We've done our part. You want to play more than we can play, and they both had other projects happening that started getting fired up.
Yeah.
And so then I played with Mick Hargreaves for a little while, some duets, and then Randy introduced me to a guy named Dave Portocarrero.
And we're talking about what year now? About
8 years ago.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Randy introduced me to Dave 8 years ago, and he and I met at Michael Clark's
Oh,
at
the music store.
At the music store
on
in
North
the
Main
basement. I
Street.
rented a rehearsal room. I think he actually gave it to me because he's so generous that way.
Oh,
And he
that was
said,
such a great store.
you guys can rehearse here. And Dave and I met for the first, well, actually we had met before. He remembers meeting me when I sang with the Stones Beatles thingy at Bay Street. But he knew every song I wanted to sing, and he's an amazing talent. And we started a band, and he had already been playing with two other guys, Jim Nanos and Alex Sarkis. So they had a band. So it was sort of like they just needed a front person and a person who could book gigs.
Oh, nice.
And
Which you have a knack for.
I do.
Yeah.
It's so funny. One of their friends, Kane Vergenti, who's a great talent also, called me recently and said, how do you get gigs? Somebody told me to call you. And I said, well, what are you doing now? He said, sending an email. I said, do you know the person's name? He said, sometimes. Sometimes it was like, dear sir. I was like, no. Like, write a personal note.
Yeah.
Like, here's what I like about Dive Pizza, and here's why I want to play there. And then follow up with a phone call. Like, it's business.
Right.
Like, give them an invoice if they need an invoice. Tell them what time you're going to be there, and send a thank you note. It's like, really? I was like, yeah, you always say thank you. When anybody does something for you, they're doing something for you. They could hire one of 30 bands out here.
Yeah.
Easily. They're doing you a favor. Anyway, he got a gig there.
Oh.
And I still haven't gotten a gig there, but that's...
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
get a
well.
commission for that?
No, I don't want a commission. I want...
Just joking.
The music community here is so generous. Everybody's nice to each other. Inda Eaton comes up to me and says, sound good, Lanny. And Nancy's like, you should have a band. And Cliff and Randy help me start. And Joe lets me sit in with him. Everybody's generous, and you keep it going.
Right.
It's very small. And if you're not nice, everybody knows.
I bet that would get around. Yeah.
So
Here you are with your new band. And
8 years old now.
8 years. Yeah.
8 years.
Well, not now, but like going back to where we were
Yes,
talking.
yes, okay,
And
back then.
any memories of some of your first gigs that stand out?
Oh, God. My guitar players, we were playing at Wolfer for the first time. This is a terrible story. I shouldn't even be telling this, but now I started and we can't hit pause. My guitar player, we're at Wolfer. It's the first time we're playing there. I am so thrilled to be at Wolfer. It's an honor to play there. A lot of bands want to play there. The setting is gorgeous. The people are gorgeous. The cars are gorgeous. It's wonderful. And he gets a phone call. His phone keeps ringing. His kid has been in a motorcycle accident.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, do you want to stop playing? He goes, we can't stop playing. And so we play the whole gig, but we don't know. The cell service in Sagaponack is non-existent. So you're
that's
getting
right.
like,
Yeah.
is he alive? The call drops, but the kid is okay. He's still okay. He's I love him. His name is
So
Miles.
it worked out.
It all worked out,
Oh,
but at
God.
the time it was like,
What instrument was he playing?
Dave was playing guitar. Miles
Oh.
was playing on his motorcycle in Chicago.
Oh, got you.
And he got in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah.
So that was a crazy gig. We played for the Montauk Chamber of Commerce, and I won the 50-50 raffle. That was really fun. And we played for free, so it was sort of like,
Yeah.
karma, instant karma. It's
So
great.
around this time, you were voted in 2020 for Best New.
Yeah, that was weird. We did win best band in the Hamptons, but that's only because Nancy Atlas's band wasn't allowed to be in the competition because they'd won too many times. I mean, they are like hands down.
Oh, they should get, they
they're
should
the best
open up the
band.
space a little bit for other
But
artists.
they're
Yeah.
amazing, and they keep getting better, and they keep switching it up with new musicians. They've got an amazing drummer right now, Denny, and Joe DeLea is now playing keyboards. Like each
Yeah,
individual in the band is
Shout out to
incredible.
Nancy.
she's
Come on out, show Nancy.
she's
But
incredible. I'm
that's
sure
great.
she would love to.
Congratulations.
yeah, that was really thrilling, and it was very kind of the
Did
people.
they give you a trophy, dance paper?
No, but they gave me the honor of that, and that's in my email signature, and that's probably how
Yeah,
you.
that's
you
how I
knew
saw
that.
it for the first time,
It was
yeah.
thrilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're lucky. We play a lot and we have a good time and
Yeah, and
we're
I found, I'm sorry,
fine.
I'm so excited. But I find that, I found that when I experienced you for the first time, I'm at the Talk House, but then again at the Clubhouse recently. Um, and I'm always like blown away by, how eclectic your song choices are. So you'll be doing rock and roll and then suddenly you're doing like Chain of Fools by Aretha Franklin, some real deep R&B. And is that coming from you, that choice, or is that, are
Well,
your passions?
I love singing anything by Aretha Franklin. Of course, we have to lower the key like 2 or 3 full steps because Aretha sings in like these she sings in the stratosphere. But I love to dance. Everyone in my family loves to dance.
Yeah.
And so any R&B I'm very interested in. We just started playing some Lenny Kravitz though, which is also kind of R&B rock, but it's modern.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So that's kind of
awesome.
fun. People always say we can't figure out what your band is, and Dave, my guitar player, just says we play good music.
Dance music,
No,
danceable
but
music.
we play songs we like.
Yeah.
I mean, we also play some Bob Dylan and some Van Morrison, which aren't really
Yeah, your
dancey.
lineup was eclectic at the Talk House too, but like all top-notch songs, like really
Thank
good
you.
quality.
Yeah, I don't like the B-side as much as the A-side,
The
but
A-side
unless
tunes,
it's my
folks.
song. I mean, I just started writing some songs with Josh Leclerc.
Yeah,
know
let's
him?
get into that because
He's
you sent me
amazing.
some.
Yeah, well, I have none of the ones I sent you
Oh.
are with Josh. I have some like 3 or 4 new songs that I've been working on with him. And so the next time I play at the Talk House, which I think is going to be October 6th, which
Oh,
is
nice.
during the film festival, we'll probably open with a set of original songs and then take a little break and then do danceable stuff.
Now, when you work with another artist, how do you guys find the common ground, or what's the source of your inspirations?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I mean, I have reams of lyrics. Whenever I'm upset or excited or thoughtful about something, it sort of comes out in some sort of poetic meter.
So you lobby the first ball, and then
I lobby the first ball, and then it depends who's on the receiving end. And my experience with Josh has been unreal. It's so smooth and so magical. I basically call him the special sauce. He's like, oh, I'm hearing a bass line like this. Dun, 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 dun.
Amazing.
And he just goes. And I'm like, oh, I love that. And then I sing
Amazing.
over it.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn to talk.
Oh, well, and then you build the song that way. I mean, that's the key, having that chemistry between the art.
We have great chemistry. And Dave and I have great chemistry in the way our voices blend. We sing great harmony together. So,
Yeah.
excuse me, I'm glad you gave me this
This
water.
interview, I hope, isn't messing with your vocal cords.
No, my cords are definitely tired. I sang on Thursday and Friday,
Mhm.
and then we had house guests all weekend, so I've been talking a lot.
Oh, we've been talking. Well, there's only 9 more minutes left, and so let me do a
this
little
is great.
talking.
And I do talk a lot, so there you go.
I want to talk about some of the music you sent me, and what I love about it is that you wrote these songs. It's not like, the hits, A-list hits, that from past years. It's like new music, and it has. For me, when I hear an artist writing a song, I always try to envision like, what was the artist coming from? Where is their point of view at that time? Like, what's the passion behind it? And so it's just more for me as a listener, it's a richer experience when I'm like.
You know
hearing.
a little bit.
Yeah, I know a little bit. So, so you sent me Broken, but before we get into Broken, I wonder if our producer can just play a little bit of Hamptons Blues, because that one struck me.
It's pretty funny.
It was funny. At first, I'm like, oh, okay. I've heard other songs like PMS Blues from Dolly Parton, and and I'm like, is it going to go there? And it kind of does. It's like funny song, like the problems of folks with the Hamptons.
Yeah.
Jody, you think we can get that on for 2 minutes, a minute?
Woke up this morning, the Porsches in the shop, the Ferrari blew a gasket, and the Rolls' grill has dropped. I got those Hampton blues, nothing much to do. I got those Hampton blues, I'm gonna sing 'em to you.
Yes.
Yeah. I've outgrown my Armani, my Versace has a stain, my Manolos and my Louboutins are causing me some pain.
Oh boy. that
Yeah.
have those problems.
I know, honey. I feel for you. You know,
I feel for you, Chaka Khan.
I feel for you. Ooh. Yeah, Jimmy Nanos, our we call him the Rev, our bass player, said to me, Lenny, you should write a song about how tough it is out here.
Yeah,
Write a blues song. So I did.
yeah.
I mean, that was all it took. The boys liked it. I have to run
They
it by.
were jamming.
Yeah, they
I
were
mean, that
jamming.
bass and
Yeah, well, that's
yeah.
Jim. That's Jim. Jim on the bass.
Mhm.
I think Fred Guild is on the keys on that one, and I think James Bernard, who's an amazing drummer. He plays with everyone out here. I just asked him to play a gig with me. He's like, I'm at the Talk House. I was like, what about this date? I'm at the Talk House. What about this date? I'm at Mashut. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, he played drums on it, and Dave played guitar.
I love it. And so here you're a lady from Brooklyn, did you say?
I was born in Brooklyn, but
Yeah.
I was raised in Westchester, so I
Westchester.
understand the sort of
New Rochelle.
White Plains.
Oh, White Plains.
I was in Gedney
I went to
Farms, though.
Purchase.
Very, very fancy,
Yeah.
Gedney Farms. But, you know, when I moved there, I was definitely aware of a wealth disparity because I was coming from Brooklyn, from a two-family house,
Yeah.
and everybody there, you know, we were shopping at Alexander's. My
Yeah.
family had modest income, and the other kids all had Saks labels. And it's kind of like the Hamptons. You know, if you're middle class in the Hamptons, you can feel like you don't have much. And-
Disenfranchised a little bit sometimes.
well, you know, I feel like anyone here is lucky to be here. And one way of feeling like you have a lot is to give stuff away. So,
yes,
you
if
know,
you're
like,
generous, it
makes
can
you
be
feel
very,
wealthy.
very,
it's
yeah.
empowering. And
Yeah.
there's so many amazing organizations out here that are helping people that really need help.
Yeah.
Like Hamptons Community Outreach, I Try Girls, The Retreat, oh gosh, I mean, I
All
work with all
sorts.
these organizations, Ola, and,
Yeah.
you know, and
Oh, so you do that too? Wow,
yeah, and I get all
you're
my
busy.
friends to help me.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, we all like really enjoy, I don't know why I'm crawling on the
Relax.
furniture.
I hope the camera can get that
Oh my
amazing
God.
blue nail polish.
Oh, my blue toes, yes, the Lynn
Um,
Blue toes.
So how do you get so accurately that sensibility of R&B, like the blues? Like you have that in your vocal styling and
I do?
phrasing. Yeah, like
Are you sure?
yeah, you're just singing it. But where does that come from? Like, is that?
It's
Did
just
you-
in there.
Did you go through something? Or you feel the weight of it? Like, where is
Oh,
that?
wow, that's so
Where's that
interesting.
soul coming from?
Well, I'm not 12. I mean, when you've lived, you've been through all kinds of things.
That's true.
And so I've been through my version of the sad story, and everyone has one, and everybody's lost a grandparent or a parent or a sibling, and I've lost a grandmother and a grandfather, and I was married and I got divorced, and you know, we all
get
have
that, yeah.
we all have stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing is to realize that your stuff isn't that unique. You know, I have a song that I don't even know if I have a recording of it anymore, but the first line was, "You think your pain is so original." You know, because
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
a good opening
it's
line.
not that original. Like we
Right.
all have something,
Humbling.
and the humility is like sort of a key to opening. And,
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know, if you can get humble enough to ask for help, it blows open. Listen, starting to sing rock and roll in your 50s on stage and making 4,000 mistakes, which I'm capable of making, not 4,000 a show, but at least a couple
Yeah.
every show. And you're doing it in public. And the first gig I had was at Race Lane, the nicest people, Roeda and Jay Plumeri had this little restaurant. They let me play there with my band for my first gig out here. And I didn't know what a monitor was. So through the whole show, I'm singing like this, cupping my ear so you can hear yourself. And at the end, my friend Aida Turturro, who's in The Sopranos, comes up to me. She's like, "What the hell? What is this? Why are you doing? What?" And the guy who was doing sound overheard me, and he said, "Lynn, you should have told me to turn up the monitors."
Oh.
And I said, "What's a monitor?" Like I had no clue. It was
Yeah.
so humbling. And I would, you know, I was used to Randy and Cliff coddling me, and Randy would always cue me in. He'd be like,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
"Dave never cues me," and he's like, "You should be able to hear that."
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, now you know.
No, I still make mistakes. I still do.
We only have a couple minutes left.
Sorry.
I wanted to quickly touch on Broken, which is another original song that you
Yes,
wrote.
it is.
And what I liked about I like a lot of things about Broken, but I like that this song talks about maybe a little despair you go through, but it has like an upbeat, and so it felt like it was there's like light at the end of the tunnel, or like you could be raised from the
Yes.
experience. And
It's definitely, in my opinion, a hopeful
hopeful
song.
song, yeah.
I have to be careful because I'm so corny.
Oh,
I'm a very hopeful person. It's not very rock and roll.
in the lyrics, it's like we are all broken. Like, where were you at the time when you wrote that song?
I think I had compassion for somebody I loved, and I saw that they had been through so much, that there was a part of them that was broken, and I knew that space of being broken, but I also know that, you know, you can imagine like a chicken being born, and on one hand the shell is breaking, and on the other hand they're becoming something completely new. And that's really, every time your heart breaks, I think it creates an opening. And see, I'm getting corny again, but
No, it's
I'm lucky I have a
words to
good,
the wisdom there. Yeah. And Jody, I wonder if we can close. We have a minute left on Broken. This is all original material from Lynn Blue, and if you want to learn more about your repertoire and music, where should we go?
you can go to lynnbluemusic.com or lynnblueband.com, and you can follow me on Instagram at Lynn Blue Band to find out where we're playing.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do that right now, folks. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn, for coming on board. It was a pleasure.
Mwah.
Come back anytime.
Thank you.
And
I
Jody,
will.
we're going to go out with Broken from Lynn Blue Band.
Hard as you try, Lord knows you tried, you can't always keep it together. Storm's gonna come, rain will pour down, you